Hello there, ladies, gentlemen and unicorns, and especially hello patrons. I want to give you a short peek behind the scenes into the process of the making of the Ludum Dare 50 Keynote bit. It's just a little something, but I thought it might be interesting to you. So without further ado, thank you so much for your support and I hope you enjoy. Like many of my projects, also this one started on paper and writing was relatively straightforward. So it's 5 days from now until Mike needs the video and I prepared a little something, but the downside is it runs for 2.5 minutes and I need it for Mike to cut it down to 1 minute. So I'm now in the process of timing everything and then trying to make it even shorter so that I can submit it and maybe have a little special for all my patrons. So we will see how this goes. The numbers on the margins, by the way, are the seconds which I estimated for each of the lines. I wasn't too far off, but it also wasn't perfect. So tomorrow is going to be the day of shooting. So the stream just ended and right now it's shortly after midnight. And yeah, I have to research what I looked like back then. Thankfully I have a making of that explains everything. So right now my shoes are charging still. Already get the wardrobe ready that I need. It still works and I even found my clear tie, so I hope if I unravel this that it still works. And of course all the other equipment that you would need for a shoot. So hopefully the weather will hold up and everything is going to be nice. And until then, yeah, it's good night for me today. 12 hours later, together with Connie, we broke down the script, essentially just making sure that we know what size of the framing we will have for each segment that's being said. And because there are two different versions, one for Mike and one for YouTube, this is the longer version, we also need to shoot certain lines differently in a different sizing so that everything is organized. I just tabulated all the different shot sizes that we have here and essentially just have a checklist that I can work. So we got even Phil's clear tie. The shoes are charged. The rest of future Phil. Look at this, even the watch still works. This is great. Valuable equipment, for example, batteries and things to wipe the slate clean and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is coming with us into the forest. It was quite a heavy bag of equipment, but thankfully I could wear my wardrobe and drove as future Phil into the forest. Okay, so we're here in the woods trying to find a good spot to film everything. The problem is that apparently there has been a lot of wood chopping going on and it doesn't look as foresty as it used to be. It's very open and this is not what I wanted. Thankfully, not far off from the road, we found a good spot to film, but the downside was everything on the ground was covered in brambles and it was a very thorny shoot. Ah, the forest. Isn't this beautiful? Well, it is, of course, unless you have to work. As did we, that is me and of course my wonderful wife, who you can see here with the boom microphone, who has been helping me, been a tremendous help doing the audio because I can't do the audio. And also there, of course, you can see the camera and behind us everything that we don't want to show, that is the forest clear of trees, because it was not so easy finding a spot where there were still trees that looked pleasant. So I'm quite happy that we finished with the sun still up there, and for us it means back to work because now it's going to be editing time. So it's 1 day later, I'm back home at work. Yes, the editing was relatively straightforward, only took me an hour.
to get everything into the timeline. And as you can see, it's very straightforward. It's just cutting back and forth. Of course, there's still some things missing. I need to clean up the audio of all the wind and add some visual effects. And this part here, this is the part that I will send to Mike for his video. He said to keep it under a minute, and I hope I can condense it even further, because right now it's 1 minute and 30 seconds or something. So yeah, I hope he's not going to be too angry with me.
Of course, Mike wasn't angry in the end that I overshot by a couple of seconds. As with the Ludum Dare 41 keynote, I crunched on making the music, and it was a close call, but I was just so relieved that somehow everything played well together. I sent everything to Mike and could get back to work on the expanded version that would include one huge VFX shot. To get from the ground into the orbit in a matter of seconds, I needed something to help me with. So a couple of days later, we went to the same location, but this time I brought my drone. I tried finding the exact spot of the camera with the drone, and yeah, I had this little accident. No worries though, the drone was fine. But I was running out of time and the light was vanishing, and I really needed that shot. So I tried my best to match the position and then just fly the drone up until it reached maximum altitude, that was 130 meters above ground. Yeah, this was also a drone shot because I wanted it to be super smooth, just like a dolly shot. And it was quite exciting flying the drone in a forest when you don't have a lot of experience flying it. But everything went fine. In post, I realized that the two cameras were off quite a bit, and it was impossible to get them to match without it looking super cheap. It had to be done in full 3D. I couldn't cut any more corners. I used photogrammetry, using the drone footage, to reconstruct the location in 3D as well as it would go. In the 3D scene, I positioned my camera where the live action camera had been, and then transitioned to the first quarter of the drone flight to have a smooth transition between the live action camera and the drone camera. And because Maya was Maya, I had some unexpected problems.
So I've been working on that one shot where the drone doesn't quite match the position of the live action camera, because we shot this a week apart. So in theory it works. This is how it looks in Maya. By the way, this is the motion here with a photogrammetry geometry. The thing is, when I want to render something, when I click once, it's black. When I render the frame again, it works. So I can't batch render this because all I got is black frames, but if I click it a second time, it works. I tried to render it twice. Of course, this does not work. And what I also tried is a post-frame render script that says, after you're done with the frame, just render it again. You know what? It's stuck in an infinite loop rendering the first frame. Because of course. Yeah, so I hope I get this sorted out. Yeah, still got 3 days. Cool. Look at this, it's rendering and the file sizes are correct because of this wonderful small script that renders everything now. I'm so glad that at least this works, so I can continue on the shot.
It was quite a bit of back and forth until the transition looked good enough and seamless. And then for the pull up into the orbit, this was a reprojection of the last frame of the drone footage onto some geometry. But I kept the camera movement going of the drone, it was just in Maya. And when I was pulling up, of course there needed to be something in the background. And this was also a reprojection from some high-res Google Earth images also onto geometry. It's anything but pretty, but with lots of motion blur, and in the movement it doesn't look as crappy. Hello, I'm at work right now. It is Thursday, 11:30, and I'm waiting for Mike to post the keynote. Let's refresh this page. Yeah, it still says keynote coming soon. And I can't post my stuff before the keynote, of course. So I already got here on Patreon. The post is scheduled for tomorrow, 10 a.m. in the morning. So hopefully it will have been out by then. And also, there's also a tweet already written on Twitter, which I have to tweet, but I can't right now. So I want to share it with the world, but I just have to sit on it until everything else is ready. And which is super hard, especially when you're proud of something, all things considered, that you want to share with the world and want to see what people think and get the reactions. And yeah, just still waiting. Mike was having problems rendering out the keynote himself, so everything was a bit late. And in the end, my scheduled video launched, I think, even before the official keynote. But yeah, those are just minor details. In the end, I'm just so happy that it worked and people seem to like it. Thank you so much for watching. And also, thank you so much for your support.